Okay, just a quick audio check now. Right, good to see that the audio is all working. Let's get the desktop audio up as well. So, what I'm quickly doing is just setting up this aircraft so it's all good, and then we can get underway. So, just quickly setting everything up that needs to be set up, and then, as I mentioned, we can get on with this lovely VFR flying we're about to do. So, yesterday we are doing some VFR flying, which is very, very exciting. So, we're flying on a tour that goes to Austria, so I thought it would be nice and call our plane OE, which is the register, like the register for Austria, and then MAD, because, you know, Mad Chili. So, obviously it being VFR flying, unfortunately we have to use default FSX air traffic control because Pro ATC does not support VFR flying, and that's I'm not really trained to be doing that sort, so I'm not going to, obviously. Unfortunately, it appears to be lagging a little bit in the cockpit of this plane, but obviously that might be the fact that we've got AI, and also whenever we're on the ground it's always worse, so look outside. So obviously we're running some AI and all that, so it's a little bit busy. Nice is not too busy an airport. Apparently this was a parking stand, but to me it looks like a parked in the middle of a taxiway. So what we need to do now is quickly, I'll just check we've got fuel. Have we got fuel on board? I'll try starting the plane. Actually, let's first of all start Skytrack. I'll try to start the engines. Oh, the engines are starting. So I have fuel. Where's the fuel gauge on this thing? Oh, it did stop immediately. That's definite then, to say that we need some fuel. So request for fueling. Just move it down so I can see that for now. So it might be a little bit laggy, this recording, but not too bad. So, yeah. Right now, so we're planning a flight down from Nice to somewhere else. I can't remember what it's called. It hasn't got a name. So look on here, actually. It should be able to tell me. What's it called? I can't see. So today we're planning 2 flights, I think. So out of Nice to an airport called LFMX, and then on to another airport called LFNA. From here in Nice, which is LFMN. So very short trips, obviously it being VFR flying, but we are flying a bit slower. So the first trip should take us approximately 25 minutes, and then the second one about 10 minutes, and then we'll see there's another 10-minute trip, and there's a load of legs we could do. Depends on how long the stream ends up lasting. We'll see now. Here's a fuel truck, so I have no idea where the fuel gauge is. I have a feeling we are empty, but I don't know where the fuel gauge. Honestly, I'm not as familiar with. I know I'm quite familiar with the Cessna. This one I'm not quite as familiar with, but we'll fill it up to make sure we have 100% in there. I always fill it up anyway. I don't really care how unrealistic it is. We always do it. So the quality of this cockpit is not great. Obviously, it's an FSX default aircraft. Oh, there's the fuel gauge. There it is. So, and this thing doesn't actually have a clock. I can't seem to be able to press it, put it that way, but luckily my yoke has a clock on it, so I'll be using that clock. Obviously you won't be able to see it, but I can assure you it's there. So let's just go ahead and power up the aircraft, so we get power. So now I've got my GPS. You won't be able to see my GPS, it's on a different screen, but I'm just popping in there. So we're going to, obviously, LF, no sorry, that's where they're departing from. LFMX. Yep, is that the first one? The first airport, LFMX, St. Alban, is the airport in question there. So let's go ahead and activate that. It's 58 miles away, which is bang on. Now, I'm not going to be following the GPS. I will be using autopilot for the altitude, because this thing is quite hard to keep at a level altitude. But for heading, I will be doing it manually. Because VFR flying, the way it works, You can use autopilot, but it's recommended that you do it for as minimal time as possible. So that's what I'll be doing. So it's time here to tune Nice ground here. Yep, and we're departing by the looks of that about east. So I'll pick east. No, sorry, not east, west. I think I've got that wrong anyway. I clicked the wrong thing. So they go, right, I'm popping in today's cruising altitude. I think we have to be above at least 7,300 because of the mountains. I put it in the FSX thing and it recommended 12,500. I'd rather be as low as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and set 9,000. So that's the plan. So let's go ahead and turn that on and then acknowledge taxi clearance. Let me guess, they told us to taxi backwards, have they? Yes, okay. So we'll just go ahead and they want us to contact tower when we're ready. So press a little button on my yoke to get us going. 9,000. So this is a bit of a different stream to what we'd normally do, but I'm perfectly good with it. I absolutely do. I really like this online flying we're doing. No, not online, sorry. Yeah, it's offline and it's in a nice little Beechcraft. Very nice. It's just put in flaps 5. It's ready for takeoff. So the registration of this plane, as I've already mentioned, is OE Mad. So our call sign is actually Beach Mad. So I like that they're referring to us as Mad. That's the name of our plane, and it will remain that for the duration of this series. So, because that's why I want it to be called. So I think we're going to be doing 2 flights, maybe 3, depending on the length of the stream. Because these flights, it can vary a lot. Like I've put in the proper speed as it's roughly between 175 and 180 ground speed in this plan. I would use the Cessna 172 because I prefer it, but unfortunately, it's a bit slower. So it's quite a lot slower. So whoa, I don't know what that was about. I think it's because I was taxiing back with my parking brake on. So let's just start our taxi now. This thing very easy to steer with the yoke. Very easy. It's even got, actually, presumably it does have a rudder, right? Yeah, there are rudder pedals now and there. But as usual, we're still using this to steer. We haven't got anything crazy like some other planes. But there's the runway. Nice has 2 runways, which I was not aware of. I've positive I've flown to Nice before, though. I think I have. So I'll set this all at the vertical speed in this sort of plane, normally plus 1,000 and down 1,000 suits this plane quite well. And when we're 30 miles away from somewhere, we can request clearance to land there. Obviously, small airports like this, that's not what I expect. Normally, we just have a tiny little thing, and it's basically traffic. It's called a traffic ATC. So basically, we have no ATC online. We just put in. I mean, I have got the GA turned up to 100%, and even though I don't have any like GA installed with World of AI, I can't see any. Because there's none on World of AI, I should see the default one. I don't. So what I'm going to do for next time, I'm going to go onto World of AI and download their general aviation packs, so we do get a little bit of general aviation in the area. Because obviously, it's, at the moment with these smaller airfields, we have no planes to accompany us, which is, you know, it feels a bit empty. We have the big commercial planes, but we don't have anything small. So let's go ahead and contact the tower now and request clearance from 4 left. Unfortunately, for some reason, I'm positive that your pilot used to have a voice, but he doesn't anymore. I'm positive he did, because like the ATC voices are working, so that's what I don't understand. But I guess we'll have to look at that. But there you go, we've been cleared for departure out of here, so and then we'll take off, and then we'll be given a squawk code and all that by either the tower or the approach, depending. And then they'll hand us off, once we're out of their range, they'll hand us off to whichever centre is in the area, who will then, obviously they won't be able to control us because we're VFR, and we're in control of what we do. but it's just basic things like squawk codes and all that. But let's go ahead. I'm going to start the clock on my yoke. And we're taking off now. I'll get the autopilot in. Actually, no, don't do that. It makes a really annoying buzzing sound. There you go, it's gone now. It does make a pretty annoying sound, but just get used to it. Generally, a faster takeoff is better in these planes. And then we'll start to rotate by there. They're very sensitive, actually, so hold it by there. About there. This thing, again, the reason it can go so fast compared to the Cessna is its gear actually go up. Unlike the Cessna, which doesn't have gears that go up. I'm wondering whether we need to use flaps, like the flap setting for takeoff though, because I seem to be able to retract them straight after in order to gain speed. Like that's what helps me gain speed. So we're looking for a heading of 292 according to Sky Vector, which is used for real life purposes, I think. But like I haven't filed anything. It's just a case of oh, never mind. There you go. So they've told me now to go over to approach. But I think it's used for real life stuff, but without filing it, you can just plan a route that you can use for simming. It's no use actually. I don't know why I'm using it anyway. It doesn't do anything. It's helpful to calculate like how long you're going to be in the air basically, but it's not good for anything else other than that.
Alpha Delta, radar contact 2 miles north of east 1,400, altimeter 29902.
So what we're going to go ahead and do now is get the altitude autopilot in, put in heading, and then take off heading. Because if I don't do that, it will automatically lock the plane in its heading, which I don't want it doing. So let's just turn it over. I can only see the heading properly from the GPS, which is on my other monitor. We're looking for 292 on the heading, roughly. So there it is. Just make sure the speed's good, it is. So this current speed, which is the climbing speed, so it's a bit slower. Oh. So with this we're looking at a flight time of 21 minutes. So if I look at nearest airport list, it won't be there. We're going up to 9,000 today to avoid the mountains. That's as high as we're going. On the next leg, it gets quite interesting because this is what I don't understand: is that some of these Alps they go up to as far as 11,000 we have to fly over, but they're on very short flights where we can't reach 11,000. So that's where VFR experience comes into it. Is that we might have to start ignoring the altitude that we set for a flight and then just doing it as we see. You know, like, this is why I decided to pick this one. It's because it has a bunch of short little hops, and as it says in the brief for the tour on the Fly UK page, it does require you going in and out of the mountains, and you can't rely on routes for that. You can't just look at your GPS and follow it all the time. You can't do that, which is what makes VFR flying more of a challenge, and it's different. It's not more of a challenge necessarily. I didn't have to set this plane up. I click Control-E, set up the autopilot, set up the GPS, go. I know it's a default aircraft, and that's why it's a bit more simple to fly. If it wasn't a default aircraft, it wouldn't be that simple. But I might, if I do a VFR enough, Kenardo, I have their Beechcraft, and it's wonderful. They do such a massive selection. I'd well consider that. So, airspace ahead in less than 10 minutes, so we leave Nice's one behind in less than 10 minutes. So at the moment we're good. I'm happy with the route we're taking. There's a little deviation thing there, so at the moment we're 1.35 miles to the right off course, which is nothing to worry about. Again, it's VFR flying. You don't have to. It's not a case of following the line. It's just a case of roughly heading in the right direction. Obviously, if there's a mountain in the way or whatever that we need to avoid, we'll have to avoid it. But this is why I chose to do this one. Look at that. We've only just cleared that mountain. I think most of this is at 7,000 feet, so I'm going to guess we're about... No, we're only passing 5,000 now. So it's quite hard to tell what altitude you're at, but if you hover over that, it'll tell you. I can look, but unfortunately the hand for the thousands is extremely small, I think. So we're not out of their airspace yet. I'm looking at our little I would like to make the GPS larger, but there's not enough space on my monitor to do so, unfortunately. So we'll have to stick with that, I guess. It's crazy. I got 2 monitors and I'm already like thinking, oh, if I got a third, it'd be way more useful, you know. I'm not going to bother with a third. This is what I like though. These views. I mean, this is default scenery. I mean, you can get paid for scenery, like Orbex scenery, but that would lag out my game, I feel, with all the AI and stuff. I could remove the AI, yes. But even on default scenery, you still get the nice patterns of the earth and stuff. I think it's really nice. So we're above the mountains now, I think. We're supposed to be above 7,000 for this bit of the flight until we hit this little square here. Oh, it's still 7,800 in parts. There you go, I'll get my terrain map on, and that helps me tell. It makes the. I was wondering how to do that. I've been doing a bit of VFR practice flying today. I was starting a tour around Ireland again with the same plane. I couldn't figure out how to do that, but there you go. Now I'm streaming. My brain switched on, I think. I wish I didn't meet the game though when I went to check like YouTube or whatever. I'm just gonna check the audio levels. Same plane. I couldn't figure out. It's good. This plane is definitely quieter, which is why I put the desktop audio back up to what it should be. Last stream I muted it a bit because the Airbus is so loud. Like honestly, in comparison, this thing is silent. I mean, it may as well be muted compared to the Airbus. So the flight, this reckons, Sky Vector reckons 21 minutes, and Fly UK was reckoning 39 minutes, but I'm not sure at what speed that is. So we'll see what speed that is. So we're climbing up now to 9,000. Where are we in relation to that? So at the moment it's like 7,500. So we're just about to actually exit. Wouldn't have thought that. There's an Aer Lingus in the area. So less than 10 minutes it still says, but I can see from the little dots, from the lines on here, that it is definitely. I think the dotted lines might be ATC boundaries. I can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure the dotted lines are ATC boundaries, because the other ones seem to be like that. I don't know, I think both, actually looking at that, both of them are, I don't really know. I'll have a look at when we leave their airspace to what they say. So now we're bang on the track that we need, so there's no steering needed. It's crazy because I haven't actually touched the Go-Beacon in ages, despite the fact that this thing is completely manual flying in terms of the heading. The altitude is automatic, but the heading is not automatic at the moment, but I haven't needed to do anything yet. Oh, I've only just noticed this thing is losing speed like crazy. It's only 116 knots. Well, luckily this thing's almost finished its climb. Actually, yeah, it basically has finished its climb, hasn't it? And then this thing can start speeding up again. In fact, it already has, because there it is, look. So, on the little altimeter counter. So I think maybe we'll put down the climb rate to maybe 800 FPN instead. I don't know. So how far are we in? 9 minutes, 1,000 feet per minute, 9,000 feet. Exactly what you'd expect. This is what I like about VFR flying as well, is that even though you don't know when to descend. Earlier, I was flying at, like 6,000 feet, 3 miles away from my airport, and then you can just dive, and not that steep, but because these things, if they want to, they can definitely, they can be quite strong at descending if they want to be, without it being too crazy. So that's what I like. You don't have to judge it that. I mean, 9,000 is a bit higher than the normal. Normally I like between 5,000 and 7,000, but obviously this being in the Alps, the lowest we could have cruised according to the charts is 7,300. So obviously I want it to be a little bit above that. So just make sure we're not hitting into any mountains, because that would be a disaster. We don't want to go banging into any mountains, put it that way. That would be a bad idea. There's the 2D cockpit. Looks weird. Listen, just an example, we do not want to be ploughing into a mountain, do we? So this thing is now speeding up. I think, have we reached, no we haven't reached proper yet at 159 knots. Still going up. It should still be going up. I'm looking for about 170 knots, but obviously, again, this thing doesn't have a case of, like, it's not a case of like true airspeed or whatever. That's just it. So there's nothing on here telling me what the wind is and what my exact true airspeed is. I just have knots airspeed. You know, it's not like, so my true airspeed's there, and then my actual airspeed's there, but they're both the same. You can see they're not. It's not particularly accurate. Obviously, it's, yeah, it's a plane, isn't it? It's not. It's a little tiny plane. Doesn't have any. I mean, there is a glass cockpit version. I haven't tried that, but I would like to give it a go. The glass cockpit one. The glass cockpit. The cockpit isn't literally made of glass. It just means it has like proper instruments. Not like this, which is just gauges. There's a kind of little instruments, but they're not proper ones with screens and everything. They're a bit less high tech. So you could call it like a more high tech version, if you like. I'm gonna pull back on the throttle now because this thing's not getting any more speed. So I'm gonna pull back on the throttle, go back into sort of like cruise mode, basically. And then I'm gonna go up here and re-put in to Sky Vector our actual speed, and then it should tell me here 23 minutes at this speed the flight should take in total. Obviously that's over the whole flight. How long are we in the air next? We've been in the air 12 minutes. This reckons we've got 11 minutes to go, so we'll see. Then tomorrow morning, obviously, we continue on with the virtual Ryanair tour, going from Manchester up to Belfast, down to Stansted. That's the plan, providing nothing goes wrong. But that's the plan, obviously. I might have to just cruise at almost full throttle there. Actually, no, I should have exited Nice approach ages ago looking at this. Because apparently, according to my GPS, I'm not in any airspace. So, I don't know. I'm just going to have to go full throttle on this, I think. I'm guessing this one's an EasyJet, right? Yeah. There's a good few planes around, man. A319s, A320s. There's a 777, CRJ 900. There's an ERJ 145. There's quite a bit around. So again, just making sure that we're not going to hit any of these mountains, and we're looking good, so I'm pleased that we're not going to hit any mountains. Obviously it's a good thing not to hit mountains, right? I'll just check how much fuel we're using. So we've got full fuel, you can see, so the fuel is at like 800. So I put the fuel up, it will change how long it thinks the flight will be. But it can. Doesn't seem to have much effect, does it? Nope, doesn't have any effect actually. Oh well. I do love the scenery. This is what's nice about VFR flying, especially over. No, this is why I saved, as I said, this tour. It's called Alpine Valleys, by the way, on Fly UK. But this is why I did it. Is so that we got, you know, this nice scenery. It's what I like. It's perfect for streaming. It's a bit more interesting than the usual flights I do as well. It's time to turn a little bit now back, a bit on course. It's 293, yeah. And there you go, we've just been handed off to the Marseille Centre. But now actually, I've only just looked, we're under 30 miles to the airport, which is within range of where we should be contacting, well not contacting, I mean just putting our like notice up on the St Aubin traffic. So click nearest airport list, St Aubin, LFMX, yep. 2, and it is traffic, they have a traffic, and then select runway for landing. We'll be using runway 21 because that's the closest to where we are right now. Obviously there's no winds on the ground and we're not online, so it doesn't matter what the proper thing is. And then announce full stop landing, and then announce position. So we're 22 miles off now. So 7 minutes, that should take us at 1,000 feet per minute down to 3,000. So I think now is time to descend down to 3,000. I like to go down to, and then at 1,000 FPM. Unfortunately, we might have to go off course to try and avoid these mountains up here. And we'll put back the throttle a little bit now. But I do somehow suspect we are going to have to dodge these mountains, because those don't look high enough for us to go over. I accidentally opened my Windows bar. But yeah, I suspect this isn't enough to go over. I don't see the airport. We're only 20 miles away. At this speed, it's only 6 miles, so... But yeah, we will most likely have to go off course. I have obviously got a GPS that will tell me exactly where the airport is. We might get lucky here and stay. As long as we're above, I think, 7,000 for these mountains, we should be good. Actually, no, we're not above 7,000, are we? 7,300, that says, for the very tallest mountain is 7,300. I can see where we are on this map actually. Once we get past this bit, it's fine. So I don't know, we might be able to get over it, we might not. I might have to dodge them, because there is, as you can see there, a flat bit there that we will definitely be able to get over. So I might just have to steer around. At the moment, looking at my GPS, which is on terrain mode, I'm not getting anything too crazy. So, you know, it's obviously not that bad, is it? Well, you do get a little bit of turbulence as well. That can happen, obviously. You get a little bit of turbulence coming in. So at the moment, we're only 15 miles out. So our climb rate is bang on, basically, I'd say. We seem to be good, despite the fact we are under that 7,300 foot marker, but we're definitely, I'd say we're fine at the moment. Oh, I accidentally closed the window there for the virtual cockpit. There you go, I've got that back up now by clicking shift 1. I go back to the virtual cockpit, and then, actually no, just shift 1 again. Get rid of it. Oh well. So we're 14 miles out. You can see there we did put a little notice in the chat. Luckily we will not be using the 2D cockpit, because I don't use the 2D cockpit. How far has this flight been so far? I just check my yoke. 19 minutes 20 seconds. Well, this thing is moving around a little bit. How far does this go up? It goes up to hours, so that's good. It goes up to 99 hours presumably. Looking at that. So how far out are we now? 12 miles. So I might be able to see it, but I don't at the moment. It's the runway is, was it 2-1? So it is a little bit different facing. So obviously I will have to go out and then back in again. I've got GPS, and that tells me exactly where the runways are, which is obviously useful. Just using my GPS, seeing if it'll work. Trying to figure it out, you know. It looks like it's after these mountains, and that's why I can't see it. I think it is after those mountains. Let's have a look. This is another good way. Obviously, this is the thing with VFR flying. You have to spot the airport. And they're very small airports as well. Oh, I forgot, you need to be the runway, don't you? So, runway 21, that's where the camera's pointing at. I see it now, I see it. It's one of those small airports. It has like a grass runway. So if I click Shift F12, I've got nothing for GSX. Control Shift F12. Why is GSX is turned on, right? It's not coming up the menu for GSX. Probably because there is no ground services. Well, there you go. So there's another bit of a turbulence you can get. Whoa. So I think the plan is this thing at 3,000 now. Not yet. Once it's at 3,000, I'll start turning in. But yeah, you do get a bit of turbulence, as I've mentioned. Oh, there's another little... Whoa! It's pretty crazy, this. It's not so nice. It's bits of turbulence, I think. So there's the airport. It's very small. Grass runway sort of like thing. So there you go, 5 miles southeast. So I'm going to need to turn just before reaching the runway, and then go on away from the airport, and then turn and land. I think that's going to be the plan. This thing, we're at 3,000 now. So that's good enough altitude to approach. Looks like we timed that perfectly then. There's the airport right there, so I'm going to do a turn and then come back in like that is the plan. So I'm going to go ahead and get the autopilot out now, and I want to try and descend this plane a little bit. Go back on the throttle a little bit, and then start a turn. Make sure we don't obviously hit anything, because that would be a bad idea, hitting something, wouldn't it? Actually, this thing can be very rough. So it can it's very sensitive. Like, I've only pushed that a little bit, and that's already enough for 1,000 FPM. Like, you know, that's nuts. It's very different compared to my other planes. So there's the runway. I can see it. I have sight of it. So what I'll do, I might end up landing on the wrong run. Actually, no, I'm not, am I? I'm being silly. I forgot. I have to do a full turn, don't I? 360. So I can do the 360. Put it into flaps full, and then turn. So this wants me to put the gear down now. So I get the little warning telling me. And then I'd say I'm in final. I'm not quite on final, I don't think yet, but oh no, never mind. I think we are. I believe that's the runway I just saw. I'm going to go full throttle as well. Where's the runway? I've missed that a bit, haven't I? I can't rely on my GPS for that. So that was a bit of a mistake there, but where is it? There's the runway. Unfortunately, the runway is the same colour as the ground, so it's not particularly helpful. But never mind. So turn at last minute. This is not going to be a smooth landing. I warn that it's not going to be smooth. Is this even a runway? How is this even classed as a runway? Because it isn't, is it? It's not a runway. It just looks like a grass track. Whoa, this thing, I guess I said it's not excellent to land. Not bad. And this thing doesn't want to stop, ever. So, Its brakes can be a bit rubbish. It doesn't obviously have reversers, does it? Whoa, how do you start these things? They just don't stop. And they don't have reversers. As far as I'm aware, they don't have reversers. So there you go, I can land and just taxi around. So, announce clear of runway. Obviously there's no stands here at all. So, what we'll do, we'll taxi along here and then just park up. Ready for when we do our next flight once I've stopped this one and then started another. We will do another flight, definitely, because we've only been streaming 39 minutes. And just turn around. Just make sure the throttles are on idle, put the parking brake on. I can cut the engines quite easily with that. So that's everything cut off. So, oh yeah, stop recording. That should tell me, yep. Submit that. And I need to pop in the brand new route. So, oh there you go, direct button. And then it's, what is it? LFNA. Activate. So it should tell me they go 24 miles away, which is accurate. Right, what's the max sort of altitude? I think I'm not going to be able to reach much more than 5,000. I don't think. But this is telling me 10,000 on there. What's the airport elevation? What's that? I think in feet that's 2,000. So I don't know, 6,000 maybe. Let's have a look. Oh, so I can go on to FSX and then click Flight Planner. And then it'll tell me from where I am right now to down to, what's it? LFNA, which is Tallard. That's what it's called. That'll tell me, should tell me. Click Flying Route. 9,500 is the max I can reach. So I think we'll look at 7,000. Obviously, I might have to dodge some mountains and stuff, but luckily the actual airport itself is 2,000 feet in the air, and at the moment, how tall are we in the air? We're at 1,500 feet in the air, so we should be fine. So now everything's set up. I just want to check the fuel levels and everything, make sure nothing's gone wrong. How much fuel do we use? We've still got a full tank. Got 92% of the tank, which is not what's showing there, but that's how much fuel we've got left. 92%, so no need to fuel it. We haven't actually got. If I click Shift F, no fuel trucks are available here, and I doubt any fuel trucks will be available at the other airport either. I won't bother using flaps for the takeoff now because that's going to go wrong. Oh, I forgot to stop the clock. It's on 28 minutes there, so I reckon what, 27 minutes maybe, something like that. And then start another Flying Club flight, and this will be the last flight I think we do of the stream. We'll see. But the flight after this one though is also another short one, so we'll see. But there you go. Start Flying Club flight. Recording has started. You can go ahead and it's very quick. It's very quick. Actually, I'll just check. It's got spoilers that I can use when landing. Because I didn't think it had. No, it doesn't. Because I'm putting up the spoilers lever, and nothing's happening there. So the only solution I've found, I think, maybe when I land, is to use the parking brake as like an auto brake, which will slow it down. I mean, it's not actually that powerful a parking brake, so it might be fine. Because I've found if you put it on, even like just, you can actually push back with the parking brake turned on, which is quite funny. So let's go ahead and Shift E. I clicked the wrong button. Click Shift E again to make sure it closes the exit to the plane. It has. Control E now. There goes the other one. Make sure it's all good, which it is. I'll click altitude on that. I would prefer to use a smaller sort of climb, but I won't be able to do that, will I? No chance. No chance. So 1512 at the moment, and this airport elevation is like 1507. That says. So that confirms to me that it is definitely in feet. So let's go ahead and leave. So put the parking brake off, get this back up, and select runway for takeoff. We're going to be using runway 3 because that matches. Right, we're taxiing now, and then after that we're going to be taxiing. We're going to be going north. So taxiing slowly. Obviously, there's no taxiways or anything. It's literally just. I mean, we're already in range of our next airport because it's only a 24. I mean, even at this taxi speed now, I could do it in 47 minutes. That's nuts. And that's taxiing on the ground. So if I stayed on the ground, I could effectively do it in 45 minutes. So say a bus would be able to do it in 45 minutes. That's how short a route it is. So, because obviously our taxi speed is actually slower than a bus. It's only 17 knots. Obviously not in miles per hour or anything. So just announce take off, departing straight out. We'll say north because that's what we're heading. And then I want to go full throttle, and I want to try and get as much speed up as possible on this runway before leaving. And again, start the clock on here on my yoke because I want to get as much speed up as possible so that when we decide to, you know, like, cause obviously this thing, when we climb, it can be hard to climb it properly. So there you go, that's good. So the gear's coming up there. Yeah. And then tune Marseille Centre, request flight following. All pilots coming in. It should only follow. So I haven't got control, so put in heading, put off heading. I've now got control of the heading. We're putting it to a heading of 004. Acknowledge the score code. We will start to lose speed, unfortunately, but there's nothing I can do.
Contact 2 miles northeast of Lima Foxtrot, Mike X-ray 2200, altimeter 29902.
Acknowledge radar contact. Lovely, all's good. So, that's all good. We are continuing to gain speed. That will stop quite soon, I suspect.
Contact Marseille Center on 120.85.
So the thing continues to sort of climb. Obviously, I'm not sure if we'll reach our proper altitude, and I'm also not sure whether we'll end up crashing into these mountains, but, you know. We can go straight over to the nearest airport list, and then Tallard, and then tune LFNA traffic. Select runway for landing. We are runway, I think we're going to go with runway 3, definitely. They actually have exactly the same runways as the airport we've just taken off from, and then announce full stop landing. They have an ATIS, which is quite interesting. So you can see that 20 miles south, inbound to land. That's how nuts it is, basically. So I don't think we'll actually be able to reach 7,000 even. Unless we do have to, which I suspect we are going to have to, which is extend our route a little bit to try and get above these mountains. I'm going to put down our cruise altitude down to 6,000. Honestly, FSX is having a laugh if it thinks we can reach 9,500. Because this is as fast as this thing will climb. Weirdly, we're not losing speed this time. Compared to last time when we did lose speed, which is a bit strange. I actually think we'll be fine at 5,500, you know. I think that's as low as I'm going to allow it. Without with the safe knowledge that I'm not going to crash into a mountain. We don't want to go crashing into a mountain, obviously. If we do, that will make for a hilarious video title, but we're not looking for that. I've never seen a flying VLM in flight before. Whenever I see them, they're never in flight. But you know, so I think we've cleared this mountain. Yeah, good. No crashy there. Good, we haven't crashed. Very good. We don't want to go crashing, put it that way. So 4,900. So I think 5,500 should be enough. We will have to descend immediately, but you know, I accidentally put ourselves on the ATIS then. So announce full stop landing, and announce position 15 miles away. At the moment, we've reached our cruising altitude, but we're gonna have to immediately descend. I think immediately. So very short little flight. This one, much shorter than the other one we did. This one says it should only take 9 minutes compared to the other one, which takes 23. So pretty big difference. So now we're 4 minutes away from the airport. I should start descending. Obviously the airport is at 2,000 feet already, so we'll go down as far as 4,000, I think. So 3,500 should be good. That's 1,500 above. So to get down, that's 2,000 feet. So that should take us. So when that says ETA 3 minutes, that's when I'll descend. So we haven't had, it says 3 minutes already. So that wasn't long at cruise, was it? Literally what, a minute? Not long.
Lima Foxtrot, November Alpha, airport information.
It's my habit for these airports to click 1 because they never have ATISs, but this one does, which is really strange. So I don't think I can see the airport, even though I'm only 10 miles away from it. I think it's buried in the middle of all this. So I think we're going to have to avoid and try and go in these valleys to try and get to where we're going. So if I click tower, no, not tower, so runway, LFNX, no, LFNA 3, that's showing it is on the other side of that mountain. So we are definitely going to have to do some dodge work, dodging around this mountain. It's showing up here actually that I have got a hill between the airport and me, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of turning to try and stay on top of it. I'll put this up to 4,000 as well, because I don't want to go descending for any more than we are at the moment. Come on, I have to try and go off course as it is to avoid these valleys. We might have to, I don't know, I think runway 3 is still one of choice. Yeah, actually it would be, otherwise we'd have to do a full 180 if we were heading for runway 21, wouldn't we? So that doesn't matter. Well, yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it through. Maybe I should have stuck a bit higher. So I'm going to go ahead and take control of the altitude now as well. So effectively I can just turn autopilot off, because I don't want to go at this rate. I do not want to be. Yeah, I've had to climb, haven't I? Look at that, I've had to climb. So I'll try and fit through this gap here, maybe. This is what makes this so interesting, doesn't it? I'm not sure if you'd be allowed to do this in real life, really, but this isn't real life, it's a sim. So I've had to climb about 500 feet there. And that's good. I've remained on top of the it, which is good. And there's the airport just there, so that means it's time for flaps full and gear down. So once we got over there, maybe it would have been wiser to try and head through that valley there, but I wasn't looking, I wasn't paying attention. I should have looked at my terrain map. Note to self, look at my terrain map next time. We've only been in the air 8 minutes, so very short flight this one. I don't suppose they've got GSX there, have they? I don't think there's any gates. At least they have a tarmac runway this time. It's a nice present. having a tarmac runway. So I'll say we're on final now. So not, it's 3, isn't it? Give it a bit more power because we're stalling there, I think. Whoa, we're not the smoothest at landing. Luckily, it's only us in the plane. No co-pilot, obviously, it being a private plane. It only requires single pilot operation. There are some little buildings here. Obviously, this airport just serves this little tiny town and nothing else. Yes, this thing does tend to block around a little bit. That was probably the smoothest landing I've ever done. What if I try putting the parking brake on? What does that do? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't put the parking brake on. Oh, there you go. Because I was using standard brakes. So the parking brake seems to be the best way of actually slowing down this plane. So, start the clock there. 9 minutes 30. It comes to. I don't think we've got any GSX here, have we? No, we've not. So, we'll just taxi over to this corner of the airport. Which is what I normally do. That was an interesting little approach. Very sudden, actually. Heading over those mountains. Nice, though. And since, this stream has actually been quite short. Only 55 minutes. But I did start later today, so... And it is only little bits of VFR flying. It's different to normal, I know. But I've enjoyed doing that, though. It's been fun. Okay, put the parking brake on and then we can stop the plane there. There we go. So, lovely. That looks like everything. So how much fuel got left in the tanks now then? So we're 88 now down to. So we've used 12% of a tank today, so not too much. I think we will finish it there. Just quickly stop recording and then click submit on that one. So there you go. I do like the Beechcraft Baron. It's a very nice little plane. So yeah, I think I will have a look at some Coronado planes that I could use. So I'm very interested in doing that. Let's just get this off and all that. Get the GPS off as well. But I am very interested in doing that. So we'll wait and see on that, I guess. But I do really enjoy doing a little bit of VFR flying. I forget how fun it is to do some VFR flying, actually. But it's definitely good fun. So let's just go ahead and... Actually, I'm not going to change the title. I'm happy with VFR flying the Beechcraft Baron. But yeah, so, you know, I would like to do more of this. I think definitely have a look at some of the products that Coronado do to see if they are still pretty simple to fly and how they work. I'd be very interested to find that out and all that. So I really want to see it. They do some decent Cessnas as well, and I think they do a Beechcraft Baron, so I'll have a look into that. So obviously the Beech Baron 58, very nice little plane to fly. So I'd definitely be into getting one of those, the proper one. And this one is still fine to fly. I enjoy flying it still. So I'll have to look at the prices and all that, I guess. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I've been Madchini. You've been people watching. Oh, what was that thing? I think the last stream I went, right, we need to say that at the end of every stream. I can't remember what it was. Actually thinking about it, let's just put it on to the end. There it is. Which means I can end the flight, move this back onto this. So today we flew from Nice to St. Aubin to begin with a T, but I cannot remember what it was called. It doesn't have a name. It's called Avignon, which is completely different to what it was actually called. Never mind. But it was good. I did enjoy doing the flying, gotta say. good fun. So I hope you've really enjoyed this stream today. It's been a bit shorter, obviously, but still good. I mean, it's still an hour. It's not that short. Done a good bit of flying and all that. Just unplug my yoke and all that. Put my monitors back to normal and all that sort of stuff. I can get desktop audio switched off now. You will be able to hear me moving my monitors around, obviously, as expected. They are loud. Loud monitors. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.